Most homes are unbelievably toxic. Things that are in the exhaust-filled air and things in food. You know, you long for just a healthy, healing environment. That's how this was born, especially since things have gotten even crazier and crazier in the world. Now I really want to leave it. In order to be able to leave it, you have to have something of an economy, and that's what Airbnb and building little cabins and our ecotourism, that's what that did. I've been industrious. I built, I think, 19 structures in 15 years. I hope to have a dozen people living here long term. Not intruding so much, but incorporating with the existing structures, yeah. Hi, I'm Dan, and I am the founder of our Sustainable Eco Village. Well, we've tried to add some comforts and human stuff into our farm. There's a porch swing here and there, and this was a building, we call it the Aquarius House. I originally built it as a greenhouse, and I used all recycled materials, all the tile, all the granite that you see in here is countertop shops, scraps. They have to pay to take them to landfills. So you can go into these countertop shops and just pick up literally, I picked up tons of granite. We made stuff out of it. So I put black granite floors and lots of mirror to create heat, but it actually ends up being too hot. So we dry clothes in here and we dry food. The heat that this building produces actually ends up being pretty handy. We call it the Aquarius House because we made the constellation Aquarius. I probably spent too much time making tile mosaics but you know, the thing is it's a maintenance-free surface and it just adds a beauty. It just keeps on giving, so I don't mind it so much. Anyways, yeah, let's walk over towards the Hobbit Hole and the Solarium.
This video is sponsored by Dylan Magaster. Check out our new channel by clicking the link and be sure to subscribe.
I'm a holistic chiropractor. I spent some time with a couple of indigenous cultures. And they have a connection to people and land that I'll probably spend the rest of my life trying to approach. This mountain was broad, dense forest wilderness. In the early days, it was me with a chainsaw, naked from the waist down, carrying my chainsaw over my head, wading through the river to go up here and starting to clear. Bought it in fall of '07, moved here in May of '08, so it's been 15 years. The Treehouse has always been our most popular cabin rental. I think we built that in 2015. It made it on some really popular travel website. The 10 tree houses to visit in America, and like all the other ones were $250,000 tree houses, but with the sustainability motif and kind of the wilderness thing in the view, it became popular. This section of our village here, we realized the need for a bathhouse here. It's got a wood-fired hot tub. All of our water comes from springs that we use for agriculture and our own purposes. We get over 100 inches of rain per year here that let our springs run year-round. And a wood-fired steam sauna give us some creature comforts. And like everything we've done with recycled tile. It's amazing the things that get thrown away in a landfill. Let's see if there's somebody in the Hobbit Hole here. As I wrote in my community magazine article, the concrete thinking of hobbits, it's built out of concrete and rebar. It's just like the Roman Colosseum still exists to this day. It's built out of concrete. It's an underground building, so it really needed to be concrete. The building, heats and cools itself because it's earth sheltered. So during the summer when it's hot, when it's 95 degrees, it's one of the coolest places to be. It actually has a lot more light than I expected. I built the bottles in the wall and the stained glass, but I wanted a center post to support the roof. And then I made a little atrium in here. So actually, while I thought it was gonna be a dark cave, it actually has a lot of good light in it. The wood stove comes in handy because it can be also a damp place. So the stove keeps it dry and warm in here. It has a water supply. There's basically a brook that comes from the wall and passes under the building and goes out. I just built it into a spring. Seems silly, but it works. And beyond that, it's just a simple structure with a round hobbit bed and a little mushroom breakfast nook. It's pretty simple. The Hobbit Hole is a place to store food and to cook and to convene. So this is our living area. We have our chickens and our goats and everything that we're gonna go do every day close. We do buy the hay, but as I say, we don't live completely self-sufficiently, but we can at any moment. Goats are grazers and foragers. They get their time. We have some pastures on the other side that we developed. 7 does, they're all milking goats. This is Maki. Yeah. She's milking Ruby. Warm or cold? I like it warm just as well. We have goats, chickens, ducks, and rabbits. Rabbits are the most efficient way to procure meat. They breed quickly, they grow quickly, and surprisingly, I had never had rabbit before. It is delicious. Chickens can be gamey, and goats can be gamey. Rabbit meat is absolutely delicious, and they're pretty easy to manage. We should check out the Solarium. It's a neat structure. We grow a lot of food in there. Do you know that symbol? It's called Squatter Man, and it is the most common petroglyph found on the planet. There are millions of them. It is an auroral event that happens on a 12,000-year cycle. We have our magnetosphere is declining, and when it gets close to zero, it doesn't ever get to zero, it's like 5% or something, you see Squatter Man, a big auroral plasma discharge event in the sky. We're coming up on that in about 20 years. The roof line follows the solstice sun. So on December 21st, it lets all that solstice sun in through the windows for maximum heating. We have avocado trees, broccoli, beets and carrots, strawberries. Up the vertical columns and growing up in the rafters are grapes, kiwis, and passion fruit. We have a little meditation bench here. It's surrounded by mint. It's kind of wet right now, but it gets used in the summertime. This is an overflow from our 5,000-gallon tanks. Our springs flow into the tanks, and then the overflow from the tanks come here into the pond, which is stocked with fish. It has largemouth bass and bluegill. Yeah. The water features, the earth sheltering, the thermal mass in the building really buffers the climate. Every fourth panel is shaded on the top, but as we get into this area, it's a more shaded area where we grow chocolate. This is our chocolate plant here. Greenhouse isn't super full now because it's winter, but it's only a year old. I think when all the vines are growing up into the rafters and the avocado and citrus trees are big, it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. The Solarium is 200 feet and has a 4,000 square foot roof. So we've taken on some big projects. Well, the lodge is a big project. That's at the top of the mountain. There's a 2,700 square foot lodge up there. 3-story, 16-sided living roof. The Native Americans built round structures. They're the most efficient space to heat and cool, right? And actually, I met a guy named Rob Roy, who writes all the contemporary books on cordwood masonry. He has a 16-sided structure. I kind of modeled it after his and incorporated some of the ideas of the Native Americans, where it has a central heat source and then the earth sheltering part. It's like a big open space, open floor plan for events. And we have had workshops and gatherings. We've had 2 orchestras that's come here and rented the lodge for 2 weeks and made an album. There's really only lighting in there, so it doesn't need a bigger solar array. It's pretty functional. It doesn't have refrigeration, but it's a primitive lodge. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I didn't know anything when I came here. I never grew a tomato or a flower. I never really built much. There's nothing so specific here that requires a resume. The aptitude and good, healthy, whole people is really what we're looking for.
Thank you for watching this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button.